Radharani Yasodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Nitai Gaur Haribo 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo Nitai Gaur Haribo 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvajakacharya Strater Satis Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvajakacharya Strater Satis Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Korti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shri Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radhakrishna Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Gangamaya Ki Jai. Jamunamaya Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai, everyone, good morning. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from the beautiful Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 8, Chapter 19, text number 3. Could everyone mute? That would be helpful. I can hear someone coughing and stuff. Do you want to do the Sanskrit for me?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Prem Nandini Mataji, would you like to do?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, please.
नयोत्स्मिन् कुले कश्चिन् निःसत्त्वः कृपणः पुमान् प्रत्याख्याता प्रतिश्रुत्यो व्योवादाद्विजातये.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
So not he indeed. Etzmin in this clay in the dynasty or family, kaschit anyone, nisaha, poor-minded, kripan, miser, puman, any person, pratyahayata, refuses, prashrita, having promised to give, yava either, adatta, not being charitable, divyati, unto the Brahmins. I know that even until now, no one taking birth in your family has been poor-minded or miserly. No one has refused to give charity to Brahmins, nor after promising to give charity has anyone failed to fulfill his promise. Text number 4. O King Bali, never in your dynasty has the low-minded king been born, who upon being requested has refused charity to the Brahmins in holy places or a fight to the Kshatriyas on the battlefield. And your dynasty is even more glorious due to the presence of Prahlad Maharaj, who is like the beautiful moon in the sky. Purport. The symptoms of a Kshatriya are given in the Bhagavad Gita. One of the qualifications is the willingness to give charity, dana. The Kshatriya does not refuse to give charity when requested by a Brahmana, nor can he refuse to fight another Kshatriya. A king who does refuse is called low-minded. In the dynasty of Bali Maharaj, there were no such low-minded kings. So we're listening to the very sweet words of Amanadev. He's speaking to Bali Maharaj. But I see that he is very cunning. That Krishna can be a bit of a trickster, right? He's come in the form of a small Brahmana, and he's speaking such sweet, sensitive words, encouraging words to Bali Maharaj. And he's just reminding him how great everyone in his dynasty is. They never refuse to give charity, knowing that Bali Maharaj is going to be influenced by his sweet words. And then we know what happens. He becomes very big. He's a trickster. He cheats Bali Maharaj. So he was gaining the confidence of Bali Maharaj and his trust so that he, in the end, could cheat him. So I was thinking that there's so many different times when Krishna is a trickster and he somewhat cheats people. The nectar of devotion, it talks about the qualities of Krishna, right? It says it's to be understood that the aggregate number of qualities of Krishna is 64. Sri Rupa Goswami has attempted to give evidences from various scriptures about all 64 qualities present in the person of the Supreme Lord. So in chapter 21, he's just kind of going over the summary. The book goes in detail, Nectar of Devotion goes in detail about each of the qualities. But in the list of qualities, there's such things as strong, ever youthful, a wonderful linguist. He's truthful, and he also talks very pleasingly. He's fluent, highly learned, highly intelligent, a genius, artistic, but he's also extremely clever. And it goes on that he's expert. Anyway, the qualities are there. Very nicely put. So clever, Rupa Goswami explains that clever, a person who can perform various types of work at once is called clever. In this connection, one of the gopis said, "My dear friends, just see the clever activities of Sri Krishna. He has composed nice songs about the cowherd boys and is pleasing the cows. By the movement of his eyes, he is pleasing the gopis, and at the same time, he is fighting with demons like Aristasura. In this way, he is sitting with the different living entities in different ways, and he is thoroughly enjoying the situation. So the dictionary says that clever is one who is quick to understand, learn, or devise or apply ideas. So Krishna is so clever. He's in these situations with all these different personalities throughout his pastimes. And he's very cleverly figuring out how to do the best good for not only the person, whether it's a demon or a friend, but also to complete the pastimes for teaching the conditioned souls. So I was remembering when he was fighting with Kali Ivana, right? This is from the Krishna book, chapter 51. Kali Ivana was astonished to see Krishna passing through his army without any weapon in his hand. See, Kali Ivana had come to fight with Krishna, but then he noticed that Krishna was passing through his army without even a weapon in his hand and without a chariot. Now, this is directly from the Krishna book. He was simply walking on foot. Kali Ivana had come to fight with Krishna, and yet he had sufficient principles not to take up any kind of weapon. He decided to fight with him hand to hand, like Prabhupada says in the stories of Arjuna and the battlefield of Kurukshetra, how the quality of the Kshatriya was such at the time that if the adversary didn't have a weapon, he would put down his weapon. If his adversary was on foot, he would also go on foot. So Kalyavani, even though he was a demon, he saw Krishna was on foot with no weapon. So he decided to fight with him hand to hand, Prabhupada says. So we're going on. This is the Krishna book. Thus he prepared to capture Krishna and fight. Krishna, however, went ahead without looking at Kalyavana. Kalyavana followed him with a desire to capture him, but in spite of his swift running, he could not capture Krishna. And then there's more, but then it goes on. Kalyavana began running very fast, thinking, now I'm near, I will capture him. But he could not. Krishna led him far away and entered the cave of a hill, taking shelter of the cave. He rebuked him with the following words. This is Kalyavana. O Krishna, I heard that you are a great hero born in the dynasty of Yadu, but I see that you are running away from the fighting like a coward. It is not worthy of your good name and family tradition. Kalyavana was following, running very fast, but he still could not catch Krishna because he was not freed from all contaminations of sinful life. That's a very good point. He was a demon and he was trying to catch Krishna, but he couldn't because he was so contaminated with this sinful life. So Krishna book goes on. When Krishna entered the cave of the hill, Kalyavana followed, chasing him with very harsh words. Krishna suddenly disappeared from the demon's sight, but Kalyavana followed and also entered the cave. The first thing he saw was a man laying down asleep within the cave. Kalyavana was eager to fight with Krishna, and when he could not see Krishna but instead saw only a man lying down, he thought that Krishna was sleeping within the cave. Kalyavana was very much puffed up and proud of his strength, and he thought Krishna was avoiding the fight. Therefore, he strongly kicked the sleeping man, thinking him to be Krishna. The sleeping man had been lying down for a very long time. When awake by the kicking of Kalyavana, he immediately opened his eyes and began to look around in all the directions. At last he saw Kalyavana standing nearby. The man had been untimely awakened and was therefore very angry. And when he looked upon Kalyavana in his angry mood, rays of fire emanated from his eyes, and Kalyavana burnt to ashes. So Prabhupada does explain in the Krishna book that Krishna didn't want to fight with Kalyavana because he was such a contaminated person. But Krishna through his trickery, decided to have Kalyavana killed, but not by him. And he knew that the Muchakunda, who was the sleeping person, had the benediction that whoever woke him untimely, Kalyavana would, with his vision, burn him to ashes. So that is how Krishna cunningly and cleverly got rid of Kalyavana without having to touch him. So on the battlefield, we also see, this is the battlefield Arjuna. Arjuna's son, Abhimanyu, has gone out to fight. And by the arrangement of the Kurus, Arjuna has been detained to another part of the battle. So his son is fighting with the Kauravas, right? And the son is tricked into going into this Chatravyuha, but he doesn't know how to get out, and they know that. So he goes in, and then he's killed unfairly by all these big warriors. So Arjuna comes back from the battlefield that day and notices his son doesn't meet him, and then finds out what happened, and he is furious. So Arjuna has taken a vow to kill Jayadratha before the sunset. Otherwise, he'll enter fire. And this is a quote. Arjuna's voice seemed to shake the earth. Now listen to one more vow I will take. If I do not slay Jayadratha by sunset tomorrow, I will enter blazing fire. And this is from the Mahabharata. Paranjana, is that his name? Anyway, so Arjuna fought all day very fiercely with the Kauravas. They used all their best soldiers. So what they did, they knew that he had taken the vow. He was going to kill Jayadratha, but the Kauravas were so smart. They were just giving him one battle after another with one great soldier. And it was really hard for Arjuna to get through to Jayadratha. So the sun was starting to set and he still hadn't reached Jayadratha. And they were getting a bit worried. So this is also a quote from the Mahabharata. The sun was setting. Krishna saw his friend's predicament. He raised his right hand and immediately his Sudarshan chakra appeared at the end of his outstretched fingers. Throwing that disk, he covered the sun like an eclipse, and at once darkness enveloped the field. Thinking that the sun had set, the Kauravas cheered. Jayadratha was still alive. Now Arjuna would have to enter fire. Surely the war was over. Confounded, Arjuna looked around, but Krishna reassured him. O Partha, there is still time. Fix your eyes on the southern quarter where Jayadratha stands. The Kauravas had lowered their weapons, and the Sindhu ruler now stands unprotected. In a moment, he will come before your sight. Place upon the Gandiva an arrow charged with Brahma's power and sever his head. Right? So that's what happened. Krishna tricked everyone. He threw his Sudarshan disc, covered the sun momentarily. Kauravas let down their guard. Jayadratha was rejoicing that he was saved. And what happened? Krishna moved the Sudarshan chakra. The sun came out again. Arjuna could see Jayadratha. Did nothing in his way. He severed his head. And we know his head fell on the lap of his father because whoever severed the head of Jayadratha, their head would crack. So it fell on the father's lap. He threw it on the ground, and then his head cracked too. Krishna's so smart. Then we have the Brahma Vimohan Lila, right? Where Brahma steals the cows. So there's Brahma, and he's a little bewildered, right? He sees the small cowherd boy, his friends. They're just young cowherders. They're in the forest enjoying their picnic. And Brahma is hearing that he's Vishnu, that he's the supreme, but it's like, no way can he be the supreme. So he decides to steal the cowherd boys and calves and see what this young cowherd boy Krishna does. So the boys are having lunch, and we know how wonderful the lunch is. The cowherd boys are stealing each other's lunches and comparing the food that one mother made for the other mother, and they're sharing, and Krishna's biting some of his food and giving it to someone else, and they're biting their food and giving it to Krishna. So poor Brahma, he's just like totally bewildered. How could this be the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So some of the calves wander off, and Krishna says, "Don't worry, I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to go find the calves." So that gives Brahma the opportunity to steal the cowherd boys, and he actually does steal the calves also, and he hides them in a mountain cave. So Krishna, being very clever, what does he do? He becomes all the cowherd boys and calves. And then when Brahma comes back after some time, he sees all the cows and cowherd boys are still there, right? He doesn't know why. He checks the mountain cave. He thinks, what's going on? But Krishna tricks him. He's becomes all the cows and cowherd boys. But that gives way to the beautiful Leela of all the inhabitants of Vrindaban having Krishna as their son, and all the cows having Krishna as their calf. Krishna's pastimes are so beautiful and intriguing. So I think one of the most profound incidences of Krishna's trickery and his cleverness with words is when he came as Mohini Murti. So this is 8:9:21, translation of Srimad Bhagvatam. Taking the container of nectar in her hands. Oh, so Krishna appeared as Mohini Murti, right? The most beautiful, enchanting lady. Nobody could take their eyes off her. She moved in such a way to attract the minds of everyone. And we know that even Lord Shiva, when he saw Mohini Murti at a different time, became just totally attracted. It's like Krishna's the most beautiful person, but he was tricking the demons, right? We have the nectar being churned, and there it is, and it gives immortality. So they're working together, the demons and the demigods. But Krishna doesn't want the demons to become immortal. He's trying to protect everyone. So he appears as Mohini Murti, and he cheats the demons. So this is the translation to the verse. Taking the container of nectar in her hands, she first approached the demons. And again, just like we see with Bali Maharaj, she satisfied them with sweet words and thus cheated them of their share of the nectar. Then she administered the nectar to the demigods who were sitting at a distant place. See, she intelligently sat the demons closer to her, and they were thinking, we're so powerful and handsome, she's favoring us. And she set the demigods far away, but she first went to them with her beauty and her beautiful movements and her sweet words and pacified them with her words. And then she goes to the distant place and she gives the nectar to the demigods. So in the purport, Prabhupada said Mohini Murti, the personality of Godhead, gave the demigods seats at a distance. Then she approached the demons and spoke to them very graciously, so that they thought themselves very fortunate to talk with her. Since Mohini Murti had seated the demigods at a distance, the demons thought that the demigods would get only a little of the nectar, and that Mohini Murti was so pleased with the demons that she would give the demons all the nectar. The words Vachyana Upaschari indicate that the Lord's whole policy was to cheat the demons simply by speaking sweet words. The Lord's intention was to distribute the nectar only to the demigods. Just see how clever Krishna is and how cunning and what a good cheat he is. So, we also see in the pastimes of Vrindavan, and because Radhastami is coming up, I wanted to talk a little about Radharani. So we see Krishna doesn't always just cheat the demons, right? He also tricks his devotees, especially in Vrindavan. We see so many incidences where Krishna's cunningly clever and tricking the gopis, tricking Radharani, tricking Mother Yasoda. I can't remember the name of the gopi. Sri Dam's mother, maybe, I believe. So Krishna's stealing her butter, right? And she catches him. And she says, okay, I'm going to take you to your mother, right? I've had enough. I'm taking you to Mother Yasoda, she can chastise you. And he says, no, I don't think that's a very good idea. And she says, no, I'm taking you. So she grabs his hand and she starts bringing him to Mother Yasoda. And then she gets to Mother Yasoda and she says, your son he's stealing my butter and yogurt. You just have to stop him. And Mother Yasoda looks at her and she says, what are you talking about? She says, I brought him. I caught him and I brought him. And she looks at her and she says, you have your own son by your hand. And she looks down and she's got her own son. And then she is totally bewildered. Krishna totally bewilders her. And then she leaves with her son. And then the son turns into Krishna. And he says, I told you, you know, don't take me to my mother. You were going to have me punished. And he says, next time I'm going to become your husband if you try it again. So when Krishna was dancing with the gopis, right, he left their association and they couldn't find him. But he turned himself into Vishnu. And the gopis and Radharani, they're looking all over, but they can't find him. But they see Lord Vishnu and they offer their respects, right? But it's actually Krishna. But they don't see that it's Krishna. Of course, Radharani does, but so he's trying to trick them, changing different forms, dressing in different ways, trying to steal their yogurt and butter and milk sweets, and he's always disguising himself and tricking them in different ways. I think in Vrindavan, he's the most of a trickster. So this is from the Anti Leela 154. Our hearts are so polluted by miserable conditions that we are certainly going to Pluto's kingdom. Nevertheless, Krishna does not give up his beautiful, loving smile, which is full of cheating tricks. O Srimati Radharani, you are very intelligent. How can you have developed such great loving affection for this deceitful debauchee from the neighborhood of cowherds? Right? So Krishna is such a trickster in Vrindavan that he's got a reputation amongst the cowherd girls as being a deceitful debauchee, right? It's quite amazing how we can see God from so many different angles, right? There's all the different leelas, the friendship, right? And then you have servitorship, and then you have the exchange of Madhurya Ras, and then you have Mother Yasoda's and Nanda Maharaj's affection as parents. But he's always a trickster. When he appeared as Lord Chaitanya, he would go to the river, right? When he was young. He wouldn't go to school. He'd go to the river and he'd dive in and he'd grab the feet of the Brahmins and he would take the offerings of the girls and tell them if they didn't marry him, they were going to marry an old man with 7 wives. He would spit water in the face of the Brahmins. He was quite naughty, quite naughty. But then when they would go and complain to his father, Jagannath Mishra would say, okay, I've had enough. I am going to punish that boy. So he would start going to the river. But Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, being so clever, he'd smear dirt on his body and ruffle his clothes. And he'd meet Jagannath Mishra and he'd say, oh, Father, I'm just coming from school. And his father would look at him and he would be all dirty and he would get bewildered. It's like, how is it that they're complaining that he's at the river doing all these things? But here he is. I see him, my dear son. He's so sweetly talking. He's just coming from school. He's got his books. He's all dirty. How could this be true? So there is in the Vigdagda Madhava 237. Oh, I see. The verse that I just thought about the hearts of the gopis being polluted, that's from the Vigdagda Madhava, is spoken to Radharani by Lalita Saki, another confidential friend. So I wanted to talk just a little bit about Srimati Radharani. Right, Radhastami is coming up on Sunday, and we will, of course, have several programs going on. Unfortunately, Varshana Swami is not doing his anymore. There was an accident that happened the last time where the deities were put in some difficulty, and so he has not done it since then, unfortunately. But there's a whole schedule, and then in the evening, we will do part of our regular program where we set the temple room up in such a way that we supply flowers. Usually we supply incense and ghee wicks, but we're not doing that. It's Labor Day weekend, so we'll have a lot of guests. Oh dear, I just realized that I did not do the invocation in the beginning of this class. My deep apologies. So we do balloons. We have Radharani's name on these beautiful little hearts, and they're taped to the balloons, and the people offer them. They offer flowers. They'll write vratas. So it's all set up in a very nice way. We also have a signboard that was made probably 45 years ago, 40 years ago, with the 25 chief transcendental qualities of Radharani. And they're very, very nice to hear. So I wanted to read them. She is always, she is very sweet. She is always freshly youthful. Her eyes are restless. She smiles brightly. She has beautiful, auspicious lines. She makes Krishna happy with her bodily aroma. She is very expert in singing. Her speech is charming. She is very expert in joking and speaking pleasantly. She is very humble and meek. She is always full of mercy. She is cunning. She is expert in executing her duties. She is shy. She is always respectful. She is always calm. She is always grave. She is expert in enjoying life. She is situated at the topmost level of ecstatic love. She is the reservoir of loving affairs in Gokul. She is the most famous of submissive devotees. She is very affectionate to elderly people. Yay, I'm elderly. She is very submissive to the love of her friends. She is the chief gopi. She always keeps Krishna under her control. So who can compare with the beautiful qualities of Srimati Radharani? And we know that when Prabhupada was young, his father asked all the sadhus to please bless him that Radharani would be pleased with him. And so Prabhupada was empowered. He crossed the ocean, and Krishna made the arrangement, somehow or other, to glorify Srila Prabhupada by making everything apparently very difficult. It's true that he came alone, and he came with no money, basically, and he came to a completely foreign country where he didn't know anybody. He came with his books to preach, and he knew it was up to Krishna whether he would succeed or fail. So he put himself in Krishna's hands. And Krishna made so many amazing arrangements that Srila Prabhupada would end up doing such a great service. And he started very, very simply, a little bongo drum in a park with hippies, just chanting the prayers, not changing anything, not negating anything, just preaching on such a high level to people that he knew had no idea, basically, the language or what he was talking about or the personalities he was speaking of. But Krishna empowered Prabhupada to have an effulgence and a radiance of just pleasing atmosphere in everything he did. And the people who met him just fell in love with him and just learned and wanted to know more. do the palace tours and I meet people. And I mean, the Indian people that come, many of them know the stories. Of course, they know the stories already and they've been to ISKCON. But the Westerners that come, some of them, they're just touched and kind of charged just by the association of Srila Prabhupada through his books or just through New Vrindavan. A young man came the other day, and his family owns the dance studio on 88, which is a small highway that goes into town. And he said his brother used to come out here all the time, and he showed me pictures of his brother meditating in some corner of New Vrindavan. And so he himself comes out a few times a year. I mean, he doesn't really know a lot. It's not that he's following, but the peacefulness and the knowledge. It was his twin brother, and apparently his twin brother and wife and or girlfriend passed away. He was young. He was probably about 40, 35 years old. But there's people coming out all the time that I meet that have just been touched by the potency of Srila Prabhupada. And we know that he's empowered by Radharani to, to give some of these beautiful qualities that she has just in the atmosphere of Prabhupada's life. We're able to associate with these great souls, Krishna, with Radharani. So Prabhupada came with nothing and he started giving us, we had pictures of the Panchatattva. That was who we worshiped in the beginning days. There were no deities. There was just a picture. You had a picture of the Panchatattva. There were no books. We had Back to Godhead magazines, and there was the original Bhagavad Gita. But Prabhupada was so empowered that the desire to know more and the blissful feelings from within the heart would manifest. And you just wanted more and more. And it was so what he was teaching against the materialistic society and with the gift of going back home, back to Godhead. It was just so enchanting. Nobody really minded the austerities and lack of material facility that we had. It was just so attractive. And so Prabhupada first started with the Panchatattva pictures and then gradually started introducing the worship of the deities. And then Radha and Krishna started coming one by one, temple by temple. And Malati, our dear Malati, whose birthday is at the end of the month, actually is one of the people that secured she'd go to Jaipur and bring the deities that Prabhupada wanted. Of course, Prabhupada's London deities, Prabhupada was also very tricky, right? He heard that they were going to open the temple. They had no deities. It was getting closer and closer. There was anxiety. And some society had these deities that had a broken finger. And when Prabhupada heard that, he said, okay, let's go. So Prabhupada went there and he totally tricked these people. It's like he was so unconcerned about the deities. He was just talking with them, talking and making friends and, sharing time. And they were telling them and they kept saying, the man kept saying, don't you want to see the deities? Oh, yeah, later, later. As if he had no concern at all for these deities. Prabhupada was so clever. He So he finally had the devotees pick them up to see how heavy they were. But he wasn't like showing the man how excited he was or how much he wanted the deities. It was very nonchalant. Oh, yes, okay, well, okay, you're giving us, okay, thank you very much. We must be going now. He told them to put the deities in the back of the van, and he thanked his host very much. And the poor host was trying to get Prabhupada to talk about the deities. And Prabhupada just thanked him profusely in very sweet words and had his devotees get in the van and told them to drive. And then down the road, he had them stop and he had them open the crates. And they were beautiful deities. Prabhupada stole Krishna. And then deities from different places, New Vrindavan's deities, you had Dallas's deities. There's certain original deities, Radha Govinda in New York, that Krishna started manifesting in his deity form. How beautiful. What a perfect way to set a foundation for what we see today. You send your perfect devotee, and he is in a very precarious situation, living without anything. And then these young people start coming out of the woodwork, right? Prabhupada said that most of us that came in the beginning had some connection, no matter how small it was, maybe stepped on as a bug by some kirtan party, or who knows. Some of us, some of them definitely were a lot more advanced, and we see the work they're doing in the world today. So he starts calling. It's funny because I know that I started getting these profound realizations probably a year or two before I met Srila Prabhupada. And I was in close vicinity, even though I didn't I didn't know it. Prabhupada was in San Francisco. I was in San Francisco. I was very close by. And I kept having the feeling I should go to Haight-Ashbury. I should go, but I never did. I think if I would have gone then, I would have met the devotees then. But the consciousness, like Prabhupada talks about, just chanting Hare Krishna has an effect on the world. Just that purified sound, the kirtan that we're doing. It's not maybe that somebody's hearing it, but the sound vibration is going, and that is purifying the world, and things are changing. So Prabhupada himself had that Shakti just coming, and Krishna had it set up in a certain way. He was not successful in India in the beginning. He came to America, and somehow or other, that's how Krishna had it work. And things just, your consciousness was changed just by him being in America. And if you listen to all the memories, excuse me, of the different devotees, you'll hear over and over again how they were reading certain books, Autobiography of a Yogi, or Be Here Now, or going to India, just that connection, even though you weren't raised with that at a certain time, it just manifests that you were just attracted to India and Indian things, and then becoming a vegetarian. So many became vegetarians. And And then Prabhupada came into the picture and was like, yes, this is what we're looking for. He was the person that, by his association, maybe the association was from a previous lifetime somehow or other, but it was a very real thing, that attraction and that connection, like you had known this person and these teachings. And, it's just so, like Krishna says, and if you take birth, you start from where you stopped. So it's very hopeful that in this life, if we don't finish, then we're going to pick up where we left off. And we see so many souls coming to this movement now that are very advanced, in kirtan or in giving classes. My goodness, you just get astounded by the classes that you're hearing by these so-called newer devotees. Just amazing. You can see this golden age is just manifesting. It's exciting. Prabhupada said, your future is very bright. So even though death is a scary thing, at the same time, because Krishna has given us so much facility and opportunity for delving into his life, his pastimes, his friends, sending great souls our way, the great sannyasis and preachers and gurus that we have in our movement. And of course, starting with Prabhupada, but then behind him is Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, people who we have the mercy of having their association on a transcendental level. We just have so many blessings in our life that death is maybe not, in one way, something that we want to look forward to, but at the same time, something not to fear, that Krishna has got his hand in our life now. And that although death is not going to be the best, happiest experience in our life, it's going to happen. There's no doubt about it. But Prabhupada said it's like the cat carrying the rat in its teeth. The materialistic consciousness of people, that the rat is like the materialist being carried by death, like the cat carries the rat. But the kitten is also carried in the mouth of the mother. And the devotee is assured that his death is like the cat carrying the kitten. So we have nothing but good fortune, and we want to run. We want to run towards Krishna. Prabhupada said you take one step toward Krishna and Krishna takes 10 steps towards you. So if we can run towards Krishna, then we can make more advancement. Prabhupada said, like a bank account, right? The more we put in, the richer we are. So we want to take the time and energy to do the best we can to make advancement in this life. And then we will be very rich one day. All right, I hope everyone has a wonderful Radhastami. It's always such a pleasant day. We have so many wonderful festivals and holy days during our calendar year. Feel sorry for the materialistic people. They have holidays, and many of them were holy days, but they've been made by the materialistic, greedy people into holidays, right? Where people take more time to drink alcohol and eat dead animals and stay up late and get sick. And, it's sad. It's sad. I mean, anyway, we can help people remember that the holidays, not all of them. Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, some are actually holy days. But most of their holidays, you've got Halloween. What is that? That is just so mundane. And then you have Labor Day. Is it really a holiday? No, not really. It's pretty mundane. But anyway, on this Labor Day, we have Radhastami, so we're fortunate. All right, I hope everyone is in good health, and please do take care of your health. It's so important. Prabhupada wrote that as the first thing in importance for the devotee, because when we're sick, it's very difficult to do any service or even think straight. Prabhupada himself was a pharmacist. He himself was into Ayurvedic medicine, and he kept a very strict diet. Srila Prabhupada was not all over the place with his diet. He ate the same things regularly, according to the time and where he was, the fresh fruits from the place. He wasn't like, oh, I'm going to make pasta tonight, and I'm going to make samosas, and he was very steady, and he ate alone, and he concentrated on his eating, which is very Ayurvedic, what you're supposed to do. If you want good digestion, I mean, disease, the Bhagavatam says, is from bad habits, bad eating habits, bad timings, taking rest at the wrong time, not getting up early, the cold shower in the morning, which I don't do myself, is for the health. Prabhupada did all that. He knew what was good for his health. And he lived a pretty healthy life. For someone to be able to travel at that extent, at that age, he had his massage every day, which I have surmised was also Abhyanga, right? Abhyanga, you use the oil massage and then you wash your body, and you leave it on your body for like 20 minutes and it pulls out all the toxins from the body. It's supposed to be one of the healthiest things you can do. Prabhupada had his massage with oil every day, and then he would take his bath, which is Abhyanga. Doesn't have to be done in the morning. So we need to take Prabhupada's example and do the best for our health so we can live the healthiest life for our service. All right, we're all done here. Thank you so much for your time, and hope I haven't said anything wrong or made any offenses. I am definitely a new devotee in this realm of life and hope to be making some advancement. All right, anyone there still?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for such a wonderful class, Mataji. Every word was like a nectar. And Mataji, in the ending of your class, you mentioned about your health and like mental health, of course, mental and physical both. Mataji, I need your insight into something that I'm dealing with. One of my very close colleague, whose room is right across from me. I'm a teacher, high school teacher, so we have rooms across from each other. So he committed suicide, Mataji, 2 days back, and it's
Oh
really
no.
bothering me. I can't sit alone in my room. It's just haunting me. So could you
Yes.
please share something to help me, focus more? In my reading and my listening, I'm not able to concentrate, Mataji. Thank you so much. Haribol.
Well, these kind of extreme situations seem to be going on. Either someone dies that way, or some of the youth in our movement have died in their sleep with no real cause. Sometimes people overdose on drugs or have accidents. There's always a difficulty when it comes to these kind of things. And there's going to be a reaction in our mind, right? That's going to take time. That's going to take time. There are different Ayurvedic herbs that you can take. I know Shankapushpi is one of them. I know there are different herbs. If you look, there's one website. It's a Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's website. They have a wonderful Ayurvedic website that Dr. Teitelbaum has also told me to use. She's an Ayurvedic doctor who's learned from the Ayurvedic doctor of Giriraj Maharaj. You know, we take things like that to calm our mind and help with depression and anxiety over these kind of things. It's good to take something like that. I mean, personally, I'm not into allopathic very much, only last choice, but even allopathically, there are things for these kind of situations just so that we can live a peaceful life as much as possible until our mind settles um, by after such a disturbance. You can certainly pray for this person. Prabhupada, as far as I remember, he said that someone does this act by a, no, my bad. You know, the Kali Yuga is just so full of difficulties for the mind. And sometimes people reach a place where they don't want to live, but at the same time, it's the wrong thing to do, especially us with knowledge, knowing how things change from happiness to distress and then distress to happiness. You know, we just have to be patient and wait out the situation. But for someone who's not in this kind of knowledge, you know, I guess prayers are the only thing you can do for such a situation. In New Vrindaban, we write the names of people that are in distressful situations like this and put it under the foot of Lord Nrsingadev. If you want to send a text to me with their name, I will certainly write it and have it put under Lord Nrsingadev's foot. But it's also an impetus to see how much important it is for us to preach and distribute books. You know, it often happens that people need an alternative. Distributing prasadam to people helps them. Okay, even if somebody does this act, even after they've gotten books and prasadam, at least we know they're well situated. So it's our duty to help the people of the world so that they understand there's a positive alternative, that life is not eternally going to be this way, that there's happiness and distress, that not to think this is all in all, that you have karma, you're due a certain karma. You just have to, as they say, bite the bullet and suffer, knowing that it's your karma. You've created the situation, and then the suffering will go away. Naturally, it always does. And that life will change, and that we need to learn things through these difficult situations. I'm sorry to hear that. That is very sad. But unfortunately, it goes on. You know, there's no nice place here, no nice situation. So we stay involved in our Krishna consciousness, take shelter of Krishna, and pray for others, especially if they're in such a situation, they need some prayers.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for this beautiful answer and the class as well. So, how would you relate this situation to the fact that we are not the doer?
Well, there's a lot of detail to that. We're not the doer, but we are at the same time. We have our free will, we have our choice. right? Krishna controls the bigger picture, but we control, this is my understanding anyway. There is a certain place of choice where the individual soul makes a choice. It's not that material nature is forcing someone to make the choice of doing such an act. The situation may be terrible that they're in. And from what we understand, our karma has made our life, basically. And we're changing our karma for our present life and for our next life. But what we've already created, Prabhupada, from what I understand, talks about the fan. The fan is still turning after you unplug it. And we have to deal with it. And what is the verse that somebody who sees these reversals in life as being just a small quota of what they're due and suffers in a humble state, knowing that it's his due lot, and at the same time worshiping the Supreme Lord and tolerating their situation, he's eligible for liberation. So we have to put our own free will in the picture also.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare-
you.
Hare Krishna. All right, 8:30.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Madanat Pranam to you. Shubhpat ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. And I was thinking that if Prabhupada's book had reached that Mataji was mentioning about someone who committed suicide, then maybe there could have been some savior, So we have to actually always carry books with us and try to give as many books of Srila Prabhupada, because that's one way in which, we know that we tried to do, but yeah, sometimes it is difficult also in the school system to distribute books that are religious based. That's also another criteria. And of course, sometimes people, they just I don't know, they're going through some mental situation, and uh, things just happen like that. So
Yes, it's true. Who knows?
yeah, but
There's
Mataji, most of the situations, actually, whenever I hear of death or something like that, I always think that the person who's died is already gone away. What is the lesson I'm learning from this? That I could be the next person coming in that situation.
absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's like, sometimes we keep on lamenting and thinking about the memories. People will keep on talking for days, especially when there's something to do with celebrities on the TV. They, they linger on so long for it, not realizing that, and also in the Hindu families, when death will happen, then they'll open the Bhagavad Gita, and they'll hear this bhajans in the home, and people will be coming and going. But it is not something on the regular basis what Srila Prabhupada has given us, where we can understand the reality of life. Because I heard from somewhere the devotees don't have fear, because they know when they die they go back to Krishna. So that is, in fact, yes, we can lament being here in this world, but if we do our practices properly, um, our regulations, chanting, everything, then we are doing that basically to go to a better place, which is to Krishna. So correct me, Mataji, if I'm wrong, but just that this understanding is only making, at least this thought is making me live each day. Because if we become attached here, or thinking this place is good, then what is the point of us believing in Srila Prabhupada's word? Like he said, Dukhale Masastakam. And there are like yesterday's Prabhuji was mentioning 7 kinds of miseries, like Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, Adi Atmik, and then birth, death, old age, disease. None of them are, pleasant, what we want to look forward to. So my grandmother would always say that when a child is born, and I've heard this from the past, and she would say that, oh, this child is born now, and people are very happy and rejoicing, but she'll say, oh, he or she has come now to face birth and death, happiness and distress of this life. Not a good thing. She would say like this, and I would hear her say that, and I used to wonder why she's saying like that, because everybody is happy and rejoicing, and she's saying, oh, this child, she was from the village, my grandmother, my mom's mom. So now I realize why she said that, because these people who are the older generations, even if they were not literate, they knew that a birth is not to be celebrated. I mean, of course, Prabhupada said, make our children Krishna conscious, but in actual, they're coming in the cycle of birth and death. So, which is not good. Again, 2 out of the 4. So, yeah, just some thoughts, Mataji. But thank you so much for your association and your sharing, and bringing us to the mood of Radha Ashtami, which is coming up. We are planning to make some nice cheesecake, which hopefully I'll get a chance to so this is our happiness, going to temple, helping the devotees, and looking forward for offering nice bhoga to our parampara, to Radharani, and things like that. So, and I know personally, there is one family where the wife is in coma right now, and I requested the family, although they are the worshippers of Lord Ganesh, I requested her husband that, why don't you, like some way or the other, they're financially doing very well. I said, why don't you sponsor a meal in the happiness of your
Oh, that's nice. Right.
yeah, so he did sponsor for the Radha Ashtami, although he doesn't ever go to ISKCON. But if we can find ways and means to, like you said in your class, people are so distressed, like long holidays, they're looking forward to more intoxication, more sleep, more staying awake. Recently, I had heard that one of the biggest sign of depression is that people stay awake all night and they sleep during the day. And I was connecting it to one Mataji told me in one of the housewarming ceremony I attended last weekend. And so I was talking to her. She was following Brahma Kumari. That is another I don't know, sisters something organization in India. But like I was just thinking when she said this to me about depression, I felt that yes, because these people, they want to be awake all night. They want to be. It's a period of mode of ignorance, and they want to be awake. So there's no such thing as depression as such, I feel. But they just want to be awake all night at the time zone where it is. And when the time zone comes, when there is sattvic mode in the morning, they want to sleep. And mode of passion, when we have to do passionately our work or anything we are connected to seva, that is time they want to sleep. So it's like, I don't know how this word depression. So Mataji, is there really some depression thing here in this world, or is just again people are in the mode of ignorance and passion only? That's what depression is.
No, there's actual depression. There's mental
Okay.
depression, and they have Ayurvedic herbs. Sometimes
Oh.
depression is caused by a physical situation. It is a mental inability of the mind to
Hmm.
get into a certain what is there's a there's a I can't think of that. There is definitely a physical depression that the mind can get into. And it's due to lack of certain elements in the system. Yeah.
Oh.
Endorphins.
Hmm.
But also Ayurvedically, there's different herbs. I know Shankapushpi is for the mind when there's depression or anxiety. And sometimes it's not even anxiety over a situation. It's like lack of vitamin D. One time I was in the hospital, first time I've been in the hospital, except for having children, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I was so sick and my mind was so off kilter. And they did all these tests for 3 days. They did tests, and they said, you're perfect health, but you have extreme vitamin D deficiency.
Hmm.
And there was this, I had to see all the doctors and talk to a psychiatrist too. And she said, she said, you don't know how many patients come to me thinking that they're crazy when it's just extreme vitamin D deficiency.
Yes, Mataji, actually, you spoke my story. Like I had gone to India past couple of months, and when I came back, I was not feeling well. I was not feeling myself. So I felt something is wrong with me. So I went for a checkup and it was extreme low. So then what happened is I started on the vitamin D. I got this medicine from Amazon, which is vegan, because all of them have this associa
Fish
something.
oil.
Yeah. If you put it in the Google, they have animal products in them.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So I mean, nowadays we have to even check for everything.
Yes.
Like buying cheese or anything. I sit there, and
Yes, me too.
yeah. So like what happened is that so then I started taking that, and then 30 minutes of sunlight, and that sunlight has to be after 10 o'clock, not before that. From 10 to 4, that is the time when the body observes the sun comes in a position where we can get vitamin D. So I was advised that, and ever since I've been doing it, because most people who are outdoor, like my husband is in construction, so he has perfect, because sunlight is there coming to the body and all that. I mean, he has to do inspections and go out as a construction manager. So but me, I don't have much exposure to sunlight, and I mean, of course, early when I was young, I used to go to walk and all, but now it's like, so vitamin D was my thing. So
Yeah.
now I'm taking medicines now. I mean that vitamin D thing I'm taking, and because of that, it's very serious, Mataji, for that, because the doctors, there's a lady doctor I go to from South India, and she said that for diabetes, for cancer, and for these vitamin deficiencies, you have to come 6 months to visit, not one in a year. Because once they have given a medicine, they want to see you with a blood test, see what is the improvement, even like for levothyroxine and things like that, thyroid. So I just wanted to mention this. This is very serious, because vitamin D, if you see a deficiency, then it has an effect on the whole body, including mind, mentally and physically.
Right.
Yeah. So now I've started feeling better. I was also feeling pain in my joints, and I was not very feeling good about myself. So there's a massive vitamin D deficiency. So yes.
Yes, it's definitely. And one time when I was talking to Ramnath Maharaj about it, he said, wait, 1 second. And he went and grabbed a bottle and he took the dropper full. He said, my vitamin D. I forgot to take my vitamin D
Oh,
because
Maharaj also takes. Okay.
I told him how sick I had gotten. And
Uh, but
yeah.
Mataji, Maharaj must be taking after doctors seeing him, right? I mean, everybody doesn't need it as per the age.
Well, my understanding from my naturopath doctor is after a certain age, the body does not get as much vitamin D from the sunlight. The skin does not absorb the sunlight
Okay.
as much as it did when the skin was youthful. So taking vitamin D is helpful. There's different ways. There's not a lot of foods that had vitamin D. That's why they always have fish and stuff in a lot of them. But you can look into it a little more. But yes,
Yes.
there is a physical depression that someone can get.
Yes. And also, like, I was hearing one class, I think there was a parents' day, I'm not sure, of Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and somebody was mentioning about the Maharaj who has made so many temples in Delhi. Maharaj would immediately go for morning walk. So the morning walk was for health, for exercise, for japa, and alone time. So, what I do is like 30 minutes just sitting in one place, because it becomes very late for me to do rounds that time, but I take advantage of the time when I can do physical activity. I can get the sun. I can do japa also, or hear some class. So 30 minutes go like that. But the body, we have to take care of our body. So, but I just picked this up recently from Maharaj's glorification only. We learn so much from devotees. that, Maharaj used to do this because he was always surrounded by a lot of people. So then he would want to have a space, own time, and so that's really important also. And also, Mataji, one more thing I want to ask you is, like, there are some people who are not in Krishna consciousness, but they often say one thing, that, you should take out some time and, like, if you pray to Krishna, if you believe in Krishna, you should sit and talk to Krishna, be not that time you're meditating or you're doing japa. And what do our shastras say about this? I mean, how do we take out time and just like 10 minutes of time I'll take out, I'll be with myself, my thoughts, and talk to Krishna. So, is there any reference on this that we, because anyway, our mind is, I was thinking that, when we compare meditation and japa, meditation is when they just sit there quietly, quieten the mind. Like what we've heard is from our gurus and people in ISKCON, that the mind is like a monkey. It'll run over here and there, So, but is that a good practice to? Because I heard from a non-devotee, everybody's devotee of Krishna, of whoever they believe in, but was not a Hare Krishna devotee, who told me this. Uh, but what are some thoughts on this, Mataji?
Well, I mean, prayer is a way of connecting with Krishna. And I mean, Prabhupada does say that he was talking specifically about someone with a problem. He said, you go to the deity and you say, my dear sir, this is my problem, such and such a problem. He said like that. So when I was really sick, I went to the deity and I said, my dear sir, this is my problem. I mean, I don't think that we should, it's kind of a fine line. I don't think we should think that we are so advanced and connected with Krishna that we could just sit and have a conversation with him. But at the same time, that's what the deity is for, I mean, a prayer is talking to Krishna, right? That's what a prayer is. You're connecting with Krishna and asking him or revealing your mind to him. That's a connection. I mean, Krishna is in the heart, but for most people, dealing with the deity is easier.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for your input. But, like sometimes we hear from people things and we want to confirm it with devotees, because we should not be just sitting there and, like our mind going here and there. And so best is, like Prabhupada said, whenever you're free, chant. Always have the chanting bead with you, mala. And, just chant the Lord's name and connect to Krishna in remembrance. That is the best way. And of course, while we are chanting, remembering, we have to reach a point of being able to see pastimes of Krishna or anything connected to that Leela. Like, today the Leela you mentioned about the, the Brahma, how he stole the cows, So it is wonderful remembrance how Krishna is like so powerful that he can create, he can show to people who are doing wrong, that immediately he will, like Lord Indra also, like this sending the thunderstorm. I mean, like devtas, of course they're very powerful, but what to speak of human beings. We get so many lessons we learn, but then also Krishna is correcting them. These big Brahma and Lord Indra. Not heard of Lord Shiva, but Brahma and Indra story I've heard. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for your time. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, I had a quick question. You said cold water bath shower in the morning. It's in the winters as well, or only when the temperature is decent?
Well, yeah, it depends where you are. I mean, in the winter, it's not that we're all outside bathing in the river. We're usually in a house that's like 70 or 80 degrees in a bathroom with the heater. I think it's a matter of your own health also.
But cold shower helps in waking us up, or is it for health reasons?
I think it's for both. I mean, from what I've heard from about Prabhupada's life and from different natural people, natural doctors, the cold shower, some people take their shower, they do their cleaning with their soap and everything, and then they finish off because the hot shower opens your pores. And finishing off with the cold shower, it closes your pores and it, gives you that kind of a start, just you can look into it a little bit more. I mean, it's not like a scriptural thing.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. No problem. And the other thing you mentioned was that Radharani's qualities was you used the word control. Is that what the exact wordings are that she
Yes,
could? Wow.
that was the exact wording. Let me see.
Controlling Krishna, huh?
In the Veda base, in the chapter 35 text, one second. The exact words are, she always keeps Krishna under her control. In short, she possesses unlimited transcendental qualities just as Lord does.
Wow.
And this is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 23. Life's ultimate goal, love of Godhead.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So in a way, Radha Ashtami should be very big, Mataji. I mean, the whole world talks about Janmashtami, but Radha, if I mean, in a way, she's not less than Lord Krishna. Is Lord Krishna in some form, shape, or form. So, I mean, for a lay person, before I came to ISKCON, I did not know about Radha Ashtami. Actually, it's not that popular, as you may know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know because I'm not from India, but I mean, there's so many groups, so many sampradayas. We have this sampradaya, we're learning from these great souls. I just stick to that.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Keeps it simple. All right, and I need to go. It's almost 9:00. Thank you so much, everybody, for the nice association.
वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। हर ग्रेस जयश्री माता जी की जय। एवरीडे चैंट डिवोटीज की जय।
Hi.
हरे बोल हरि
Hari
बोल।
Bol. Rupi
Hari Bol,
Maharani ki
everyone.
jai. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.